about it day and night. I feel like a king, oh yeah. I'm ready, can't help but stare. Such a rush, baby. Ladies and gentlemen, guys and dolls, cats and chicks, you're listening to Viva ENT live in Seattle. This is Johnny the Capo, your host. I'm here with my co-host,
Takia Maleka.
And my excellent producer, Mr.
It's Eric C.C. Ryder. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's a clear, wonderful-looking day out there today. Looking out of the 5th floor of the Newport Towers. It's marvelous, wonderful, and I'm looking forward to better weather, if you know what I'm saying.
Absolutely. We've had quite a variety this week.
It's been weird, man.
A little bit of everything.
Very weird.
Lightning struck the Space Needle.
I heard that.
Did you see that? On Monday.
That's my gosh.
And then we had snow right after that on Monday.
It's been very flippy.
But then we had some sunshine, and it's like, okay, we'll take this.
That's Seattle, baby. Yeah, you know, the lightning hitting the Space Needle, that's a big thing.
Yeah.
You know,
doesn't happen too often.
I've been in that Space Needle countless times over the last 15 years, and I've always worried about that.
Well, I think they've got a lightning rod on top to absorb that sort of thing.
That's a good
I don't
idea.
think anybody was hurt or anything, but yeah.
Yeah.
Fun to see the video for sure.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I'm gonna have to YouTube it or something. I want to tell all our listeners out there today that we have our guest today is Darwin Lamm, and he is going to come on about a quarter after with Jerry Osborne, and they're going to tell all their stories. Darwin's a local musician that has had some success with some hit recordings and has been a producer of the show called Good Rockin' Tonight, which is featured every year in Memphis during Elvis Week. And, of course, Jerry Osborne knows all about that, so we're going to get our listeners in on that information. If you are an Elvis fan, this is a great show to listen to. If you're a rock and roll fan, this is a great show to listen to because we talk rock and roll every week. Today we're going to talk about the Academy Awards. I want to thank last week's guest, Patsy Anderson, who's been involved with the Elvis world for many years. She was a great guest, and it was a pleasure to have her on. We're going to have Eddie Redmond from Grand Event Rentals on about 12:45 today. He's one of my pals and buddies, and is a very informative guy as far as events, weddings, etc., so on and so forth. And Takia, can you tell our listeners about the Tacoma Expo that's coming up on the
25th and 26th of March? Looking forward to it. It's going to be an exciting event, as always. Tacoma Dome.
Tacoma Dome is right.
Dome. Lots of excitement, lots of vendors, lots of beautiful gowns and floral arrangements and people walking around the Tacoma Dome.
Makeup artist.
Yeah.
We'll be broadcasting live there, as we always do. Viva ENT will be live on the radio. And they'll have makeup artists.
Oh, yes.
Lots of fashion going on, right? That's right up your alley.
Oh, yeah, that's always exciting.
You know, the Academy Awards this year, the fashions were, always, glamorous, so on and so forth. What's the name of that one gal that had that dress on that I didn't care for that you liked?
I love Janelle Monáe's dress. I don't know what dress you were looking at.
What was that big? It looked like a basket.
It's pretty fabulous. It
was it?
Elegant. It was blingy. It was everything.
And baskety.
Metallic awesomeness.
So, and then there was a couple that I think Halle Berry. They said Halle Berry kind of missed it with the wig and her dress. Did you like it?
Oh yeah. Let me correct you for a minute.
No.
That was not a wig. That is her natural hair.
Really?
Yes.
Because they on TV they were saying it was a wig.
People don't know any better.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you're right. But so you're telling me Halle Berry, that was her real hair?
That was her real hair.
What'd you think about the dress she had on?
I think it was beautiful. She always comes through very elegant.
I was
I always
gonna
look forward
say.
to seeing what
But-
Halle is going to show up in.
But I thought the hair was a little high.
That's her hair, though.
I know it's
With
not-
curly hair, you
I mean,
never
she
know
could've
what's
calmed
going to
that down a little
happen.
bit there.
You never know. You just rock it with pride, and you smile, and
Yeah.
you know.
I'm listening.
Yeah, it was a different look for her, but still looking very elegant, I thought.
What about Scarlett Johansson? Did you see her?
I did not.
Did you watch the awards, Eric?
I didn't, but I've seen some of the videos and some of the press and stuff, and
I didn't particularly care for that dress that she had on, and I'm a big fan of hers. Anyway, fashion.
nothing works better than fashion descriptions on the radio.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe we should go into another topic. Okay, yeah, Nicole Kidman, I think she looked the best. She was that's an outstanding dress. We're looking at it right now.
Now, if we're talking Oscars, though, what did you think about the big upset for Best Picture?
Well, I watched it and I saw it, and I knew that Warren Beatty was struggling, and I knew that when he dug back into that envelope, there was something wrong, and he was trying to play it off, as professionally as he could.
Right.
And he was baffled, and then I think when he handed the envelope over to Faye, I think he
Faye
was
Dunaway.
I think he was mentally. It didn't come out of his mouth, but I think he wanted to say, "Faye, take a look at this. And
Right.
See what the hell's going on here." And of course, she. I heard her tell him, to cut it out, because she thought he was hamming it up. And so as soon as she opened that envelope and she saw La La Land, she announced it. And then the guy that came up with the envelope that was, trying to figure out what the hell happened, looked a lot like Matt Damon. And Matt Damon and Jimmy Kimmel were playing practical jokes on each other all night. And so somebody thought, for an instant, that
this was a joke.
that
or
it was
something?
part of the show.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I will say I was cracking up when Ben Affleck and Matt Damon came out and they announced, and here is Ben Affleck and his guest.
Right. Yeah, that was it was funny. I'd say it was funny.
But I will say that the La La Land crew, after making that exceptional thank you speech, handled that with such dignity, grace, respect.
It's got to be hard to get that Oscar and then have it kind of yanked away, but at the same time, they knew that they weren't the rightful winners, and so you have to handle it with that kind of dignity and grace. There's no sense in throwing a fit or anything. And clearly it seemed like they were actually big fans of Midnight, which I still haven't seen, but I hear, tremendous things about and looking forward to watching.
Yeah, it was flippy. Very flippy.
Flippy.
Flippy is the word today.
Okay.
Also, I want to give a plug to the Viva Diva flea market. It's antique vintage flea market and more, which is going to be April 1st, April Fool's Day, in Edmonds, 515 Dayton Street, downtown Edmonds, a Viva Productions event. So there's going to be at least 25 vendors there with all kinds of fabulous, cool stuff.
Now, if it's Viva Diva, does this mean it's just for the ladies?
No, this means it's that my wife is actually the producer of the show.
So Mrs. DiCapo is
Mrs.
the diva.
Capo. Yeah, Mrs. Johnny DiCapo.
She's the diva.
She's the diva, and it's her show.
We're about due for a break.
Well,
so
okay, let's hear a word from our sponsors. I don't know. Did Jerry send you a little snippet from Darwin or something?
He did.
Play?
Yeah.
Cool. Let's hear it. You're not on?
Yeah. Well, why don't we do that when
After.
we introduce him?
Okay, sounds good.
And what we can say about Darwin Lamm, of course, you are one of the biggest Elvis fans, but this guy, such a huge Elvis fan, he published a magazine dedicated to Elvis for years and years and years. So we'll find out more about that.
You know, I just joined a couple of Elvis Facebook things, and I think that I'm on Priscilla's now. So, Priscilla, if you're listening, we talk Elvis every week there. So, if you listen to the show, keep on listening.
We'll be right back with more Viva ENT.
Thank you so much.
Life's a celebration. Grand Event Rentals makes your event their top priority. They are your full-service, special event, and party rental provider, supplying everything you need from start to finish. Their professional sales team and event staff work with you to create your dream event. With every event, Grand Event Rentals customers' needs are the most important. Whether you're planning an intimate outdoor wedding or an elaborate black tie gala, the Grand Event Rentals specialists make great pride in providing our event planning experience to help create an unforgettable event. Please go and visit the Bellevue Showroom, Grand Event Rentals, or make a one-on-one appointment. Talk to them. They're trained, they're knowledgeable, they're event specialists, and they are going to take you through step-by-step everything that you need to make your day a success. Call Grand Event Rentals. Their number is 425-462-7368, or go to grandeventrentalslaw.com.
Dr. Amanda Wong and the team at Art of the Smiles provides comprehensive dental services at affordable prices. Their convenient location in Federal Way and their extended hours fits the needs of both families and working professionals. Whether it's transforming your smile through some of their cosmetic therapies or simply having your teeth cleaned, Art of the Smiles provides individualized care plans that address your priorities and needs. Visit artofthesmiles.com or call 253-839-4048. That's 253-839-4048 for same-day scheduling. Most insurance is accepted, from cosmetic procedures to implant placement, molar root canals treatment, or wisdom teeth extractions.
Attention business owners, experience a new world of business with barter. The Saturn Barter Company, located in Tacoma, is one of the most beneficial business decisions you can make. Using Saturn Barter, you are able to sell your products or services to other members of the exchange. You can then use that credit you've built up from your sales to purchase the products or services you or your company needs from other companies within Saturn Barter, all without the use of cash. Contact and join Saturn Barter Club today, 253-212-9930, or online at SaturnBarter.com.
This is Johnny the Gangster with Viva Productions, King of Entertainment, one-stop shop for all your entertainment needs. We have DJ service for weddings, corporate, and private events. Thrill your guests with Vegas Nights Casino Party, blackjack, craps, roulette, poker, and more. We also have event photography and limousine service. Call Viva Productions, 206-542-5733, or find us at viva-productions.com. A little less conversation, a little more action, you got it. Call Johnny the Gangster. I'll make you a deal you can't refuse.
Brides, do you want your big day to be stress-free, perfect, and stay within your budget? Well, Brides Club has all the inside information to make your dream a reality. Go to bridesclub.com, that's bridesclub.com. See upcoming bridal shows and events, view wedding vendors and special offers. And don't miss The Spotlight, the premier online wedding magazine with valuable articles you can't afford to miss. Brides Club helps make your wedding stress-free and perfect. Go to bridesclub.com, check out bridesclub.com.
Is your vehicle needing some attention? Take it over to Maddie's Tuning and Shoreline for fast, affordable car care. Trusted, professional. Maddie's services all makes and models and has been trusted in the Puget Sound for almost 60 years. Call Brian Maddie at 206-364-3347 or stop by his convenient location in Shoreline right on Aurora at 152nd. Maddie's Tuning. Call 206-364-3347. Trusted for almost 60 years to keep you safe and on the road.
Ready to shake things up? Try Alternative Talk 1150.
Ladies and gentlemen, guys and dolls, cats and chicks, you're listening to Viva ENT. This is Johnny the Capo, live in Seattle. I'm here with my co-host.
Takia Maleka.
And my excellent producer.
It's Eric C.C. Ryder.
I got the big O on the radio today. Say hi, Jerry.
Hey, this is Jerry Osborne. Osborne. Happy to be here as usual.
Jerry Osborne, what a pal and buddy you are. You're bringing these great guests on our show every single week. You're a rock and roll historian. You're a Elvis historian. You have all these wonderful connections in show business, and I don't think we've had so many great guests on our show. There's nobody that can even compare with the Big O as far as getting talent on like that. What do you say, Eric?
I agree.
Man,
Yeah.
I'm telling you. And
Well, I'm happy to say that I know a lot about that guy.
Well, good. Know thyself. That's a good thing. And, of course, Johnny, you're a huge fan of Elvis, as is Jerry. And over the last couple weeks, really, with today's guest that's coming up soon, Darwin Lamm, and last week's guest, we're in kind of an Elvis gold mine, if you will, here the last couple weeks here with discussion, because we had the fan club founder. Was she the founder?
Well, she was the Graceland person in charge of all of the fan clubs,
Right.
and that is Patsy Anderson.
Yeah. And then, of course, Darwin Lamm, who's coming up in a little bit, he published a magazine about Elvis, right?
Well, that was just one of the things that he did. He also ran a syndicated radio show that was sent out on LPs to radio stations around the country who subscribed to it. And it was a show called the Elvis Hour. And in that show, they would, of course, have a lot of Elvis music, but they would always have interviews with the people that were in the Elvis world, and many of those people have been on our show here. So, it's kind of a small world, and everybody knows everybody. But one thing about Darwin Lamm that we have never talked about is the fact that he and I collaborated to put together the legendary Good Rockin' Tonight concerts that were held as an annual event every year during Elvis Week in August in Memphis. And this was, without a doubt, the highlight of the week for most of the people who came there. And the number of stars that were either involved with Elvis in real life or perhaps came along after and had some significant way of either entertaining us or some story that would make it worth having them on the stage. And, I don't even have a list in front of me, but some of the people that come to mind that we had on those shows were the TCB Band, all of them, Carl Perkins,
Jerry Mike Jeffries,
the Jordanaires, DJ Fontana, Scotty Moore.
Oh, yeah.
We brought people back to the stage who hadn't performed in many, many years, and we had these all-star lineups. I mean, I'm telling you, this was really a spectacular thing, not totally unlike the great Dick Clark caravan of stars from the mid-'60s, where you just had a whole bunch of great acts on one bill.
Correct.
But anyway, the way that all came about, though, and this is a story that's never been told on any radio station,
cool,
is Darwin and I did not know each other. He may have heard of me, and I probably had heard of him through his magazine or something, but we didn't personally know each other until an Elvis convention in the summer of 1983, I think, in San Jose, California.
Wow.
And we just happened to both be at this same convention. I was living in Phoenix at the time, and he was living in Southern California, north of L.A. And when we met each other, we started talking about how much we had in common, and we just kind of hung out. He was very new in the Elvis world at that time, and he really pumped me for a lot of information about what the possibilities were in terms of putting out a radio show or doing a live concert, all this kind of stuff.
Wow.
So we sat down at the restaurant, and we grabbed a napkin, and he started writing down notes from the conversations that we were having. And before that convention was over and we went our separate ways, we had already planned to do the first Good Rockin' Tonight concert. I don't know that it even had a name at that time, but of course it was based on Elvis's second record, Good Rockin' Tonight.
Correct.
But we had, I don't even remember all the people we had on the first show, but anyway, he got a whole bunch of great acts lined up. This is all easy to find, but I don't have it all right here with me, but we have the posters and all that kind of stuff. And the videos, these were all on DVD, too. So we have a way of knowing who was on all these shows. But anyway, he can talk more about that when we get him on. So we didn't know how it was going to go. Turned out to be that it was the biggest event of that particular year, that August in Memphis. And so immediately he started planning Good Rockin' Tonight 2, and then 3, and then 4, and then 5, and it just kept going. And I was the MC, by the way, on nearly all of those shows. So it was a great deal of fun working with all these people. Sam Phillips, I forgot. We had him on the show, and he was a big supporter of ours. And I mean, this is a guy who's just legendary. Beyond legendary he was. So we had him, and so many great people from the Elvis world. So that is how all of that came about, and I'm kind of anxious to let him tell you his version of the story. Hopefully it'll parallel mine to some extent, but anyway, that's how it all came about.
Well, you know, the recording of Good Rockin' Tonight, I think is, you know, especially for Elvis's early work, is one of the best vocal tunes he ever did. As far as the rockabilly sound, if that wasn't the birth of rockabilly, I don't know what was, really, to tell you the truth.
Well, it certainly was among them, that's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, to me, that Good Rockin' Tonight is like the tune.
Yeah, it had been a hit by
Roy Brown.
Wynonie Harris and Roy Brown and other R&B or blues artists, but it was never done the way that Elvis did it.
No, heck no. You know, Robert Plant did something with Good Rockin' Tonight, and I think he kind of changed the title into Rockin' at Midnight or something. Are you familiar with that?
Oh, sure. Well, that was in the 80s with the group that they had at that time.
Yeah.
And sure, Rockin' at Midnight or something like that, yes.
Yeah, that was, that goes to you know, when I first heard Robert Plant with Led Zeppelin, especially with a whole lot of love, the first thing I thought of was Elvis. I go, this sounds like a young Elvis, jailhouse rock type style. You know what I mean? Just with the heavy metal. What say you, Jerry? Have you ever noticed the similarity of?
I can't say that I have.
Well, you listen in to Robert Plant.
Yeah.
And listen to Black Dog. It's a lot like Bossa Nova Baby.
Yeah. No, I never made that connection.
Yeah.
But, you know, you certainly have a good point there.
Yeah, I'm sharper than I look, I'll tell you that right now.
Well, what I didn't know until later in our association was that he was a recording artist himself and had some hit records on the regional level in the Northwest, because Darwin was living in the Northwest back in the late 50s and early 60s.
All right.
And Bonnie Guitar, who had hit records of her own, was also the producer of the Fleetwoods when they started out. And you know how many times we talked to Gretchen on this show.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, Gretchen, Barbara, and Gary made up the Fleetwoods. Darwin and two women, whose names hopefully he can give you, had a group, a trio, called Darwin and the Cupids. And Bonnie Guitar produced them along the same times as she was doing the Fleetwoods. And so he had several records beginning in 1960, and like I said, some were charted in the Northwest. And so I would like to talk to Bonnie Guitar one day, and maybe we can, and find out if she was trying to create the Fleetwoods 2.0 or something with Darwin and the Cupids. But in 1960, they had 5 records, so they were pretty busy and popular on the scene in the Northwest at that time.
Well, you know, Jerry, you sent me a song from Darwin called There Ought to Be a Dance.
Yes, and I picked that one because it's one of the more up-tempo ones, but it also is very appropriate for 1963 when there were so many different dances contained in hit records at that time. So it was a perfect time for him to be saying, well, there ought to be a dance for this and that, and so I thought it might be a good one to play as we bring him in.
I think that's a great idea. Why don't we go ahead and take a listen to it, and then we'll talk to Darwin.
Cool.
I can't wait.
I can't wait myself.
I like to do the mash, the wiggle wobble too. I do 'em every day. The limbo is great, and the Popeye is too. But there's one thing I'd like to say, oh, there ought to be a dance that would give a guy a chance to hold his baby right. I whisper in her ear, oh, there ought to be a dance where a guy could romance and hold his baby right. 'Cause I never get to squeeze her tight. There she goes, doing the Watusi. She's 6 feet away from me again. Oh, I like to see a spotlight dance where I can hold her oh so near and to let her know that I love her so. As I whisper in her ear, oh, there ought to be a dance that would give a guy a chance to hold his baby right. 'Cause I never
Ladies and gentlemen, you listen to Viva ENT. We're back on the air. This is Johnny the Capo, your host, and I'm here with Takia, Eric, my producer, and Jerry the Big O is here with our guest, Darwin Lamm. Bring him on the show, Jer.
Well, I think that this may be the first time in 50 years that Darwin has been heard on a Seattle radio station singing
Cool.
one of his songs.
Well, that was that was a nice little tune, Darwin.
Well, thank you. I think that goes back to about 1963.
Yeah, 3.
And but How Long was, of course, the one in 1960. How Long by Darwin and the Cupids. That's the one. Boy, I think we were number one in Seattle for probably about 6 to 7 weeks because
Cool.
back then, Jerry, if you remember, there was payola, so they just kept paying the DJs, and we kept being number one.
Well, you could have gone all hour without talking about that.
I like payola myself.
But you know what, Darwin? I don't know if you know this, but I'm looking right now at the KGW. This is the big top 40 station in Portland, and the top 40 list for August 15th. How about that? One day before Elvis died. August 15th of 1960, the number one song was It's Now or Never by Elvis, and the number 20 song is How Long by Darwin and the Cupids. So
Cool.
you were on the chart the same time as Elvis in the summer of 1960.
Very cool.
Wow. Yes, there you go. Wow. And we certainly know the Elvis world, don't we?
Yes,
We do.
Yes,
I was
we do.
talking to the guys just a little while ago about how, and I'm going to let you tell how you really got involved in the first place, but I always kind of thought that Bonnie Guitar and Darwin and the Cupids might have been on the verge of creating the Fleetwoods 2.0.
Exactly. Yeah.
Tell us about it.
Well, see, Bonnie was actually the one that brought the Fleetwoods together, and of course they had Mr. Blue and Come Softly to Me, and actually there was a falling out with the Fleetwoods and Bonnie Guitar,
Oh.
and I didn't know that, but I went into a nightclub in Vancouver, Washington, where Bonnie was performing, and being 18, they wouldn't let me in. But it was so strange. Jerry, she smiled at me from the stage, and here I am, this shy little 18-year-old, with a song that I wanted to play for her to give to the Fleetwoods. Well, she saw me, she smiled, I smiled back, and the lady says, "Oh, do you know Bonnie?" Yeah. Is that okay?
Yeah, we still got you. Are you there?
Oh, okay. Yeah, so then the lady says, "Well, if you know Bonnie, come on back, and I'll set you by the dressing room, and you two can chat after she gets off the stage." So she runs by me. I hand her a note, and in the note it said basically that I had a song that I had written for the Fleetwoods, and if she could somehow, since she's the producer. Now, she never said anything about it, but she brings me into the room. I play her the song, and she asked me a lot of questions about the girls and this and that, because they did have a beautiful blend. They really did. And so all of a sudden, 4 days later, we are in the studio recording the song. And again, I thought this was all for the Fleetwoods, had no idea she was thinking about me at all. And then after it was recorded, she said, "Oh, we need another one for the flip side." And then I thought, well, what's going on here? She's actually recording us. So she said, "Yeah, I'm going to take it to L.A. and see what I can do." Well, sure enough, about a month later, I'm actually walking down the hallway of Del Monte meat company. Now get this. Here I am working at a meat packing plant, and on KGW, Red Robinson, who actually gave me this tape, he saved it all that time. He saved everything. I hear him on the radio, and because it was always throughout the whole place, KGW, and he says, "Here's a new hit." He says, "It's going to be a hit. It's our pick of the week." And he goes on and on. He says, How long before it's number one? And then he played How Long, and I'm telling you, I just fell to the floor and just sat there and listened to that song till it was completely done. And then, of course, I met I met Red Robinson after that, and we became very good friends. And actually, I got him involved in the Elvis world as well, which Jerry knows about.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. But, you know, it sounds like you first thought you were recording that as a demo.
A demo for the Fleetwoods to record, exactly.
Little did you realize. So then you just, whipped up an instrumental, Chloe, for the other side?
She picked that one. She said, go home and work. We didn't have another song. So she said, take this. It's an old song from way back when. And she said, just work up a version of this. I've always liked this song. So we went back and did to me, a kind of a strange version of that song. But anyway, that went on. No, I didn't care. It was on the flip side. You know how that goes.
Darwin, what has impressed me about looking at your discography is that, with one or two exceptions, you wrote about everything that you did.
There was quite a few, and Lou Bedell of Dory Records, who really was the one who found Phil Spector.
Wow.
And to know him is to love him. He loved that sound. And so when I did move to L.A. in about 61, I hooked up with him, and he liked those softer sounds. And so he said many times he would come up with an idea and say, Darwin, go write a song about this. And so we did collaborate on quite a few of those songs as well.
Very cool.
In looking back, I think of 1963 as maybe the year when there were the most songs about the most dances of any year that I can recall. Just think of it. You had the Limbo, you had the Bird, you had the Watusi, you had Elvis with Doing the Bossa Nova Baby, you had the Dog,
Right.
you had the Monkey, and you still had the Twist, and you had the Locomotion. I mean, there was all these dances, so I thought it was so appropriate, and this is why we played it, that you came out with There Ought to Be a Dance, that blah, 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 blah.
That you can hold your baby tight.
That's exactly
you're right. We were all doing the Watusi and everything else, and
the Wiggle Wobble, huh?
And the Wiggle Wobble, yes. But yeah, that was kind of a strange situation. He loved the Itsy Bitsy Bikini Thing song, and he wanted to come up with ideas like that. Grounded for the Summer was another one he came up with that we wrote together. But There Ought to Be a Dance. In fact, to be honest, I haven't heard that song in probably 10 years. I have my own little greatest CD of hits, and I don't even have that one on there.
Oh, boy.
Because it's never been one of my favorites. But you're right, it did hit a tone because, what was his name? George J., a big promotion guy.
I knew him very well. He got me a job in radio once.
Yes, yes. And he took that song and he promoted that so heavily across the country. So it wasn't really a local big hit at all, like How Long and Goodnight My Love, but it really actually did fairly well across the country. And I remember the write-ups. I remember Cashbox and all those did write-ups at that time. And they said basically the same thing that you said. With all these dancing, they mentioned them all. And then they said, but here comes a great song, There Ought to Be a Dance Where You Can Hold Your Baby Tight. But then they said, but who in the heck can hold your baby tight with a drum beat like that behind it?
Well, that was the challenge.
Yeah.
By the way, my copy of your record has rubber stamped "Thanks" from George J.
Oh my goodness! So he sent that to you as a promotional copy?
Oh yes, yeah. I knew him very well. Like I was said earlier, when I was working at a radio station in Indio, you and I talked about this a few days ago. I wanted to move up to a bigger market, so I went and talked to him at his office in Los Angeles, and he got me in touch with the program director at KELP in El Paso, and I sent them an audition tape, and they hired me. So I went from Indio to El Paso thanks to George J.
Oh, my goodness. And George did one other thing. He sent that song to Dick Clark, and it was, there was Rate a Record. That's what it was called, Rate a Record.
I remember that.
And they played that song, and the kids loved it. They were out there dancing and doing all the Watusi and all that kind of stuff. And but they made the same comment afterwards on the rating part was, great song, but you can't dance. You can't dance slow to it. So it was just kind of a comical situation.
Very cool.
Before we managed to get you on the phone, I gave them a little background on the origin and the success and the raving reviews that we got over the years for the Good Rockin' Tonight concert. So why don't you give your view of how that came about and what you remember and the great, great stars that we got to work with.
Oh, for sure. They were all in the Elvis business. And now, Jerry, if you remember, I had just produced the Elvis 10th anniversary radio tribute. It was 6 hours. And I even did jackets and had packaged up the 6 hour on LP, of course, at that time, in 1987. And that's when I ran into you, and you are the one that said, you just got to come to Memphis in August. So we ended up down there, and that's how we kind of really hooked up, Jerry. And I think it was the very next year we started the Good Rockin' Tonight concerts, and I'm going to say 22 years. Well, the last one I did was the 35th anniversary, so that was 5 years ago, in 2012.
Wow.
So that was the last one. But you're right. We had every Elvis, performers that performed with Elvis, knew Elvis well, and, of course, the TCB band. And really special was I was able to bring a lot of people out of retirement, like Scotty Moore.
Yeah.
Yep, Scotty Moore, and brought the first one, the other great guitarist,
James Burton.
James Burton. I brought him out for the first time in a Good Rockin' Tonight show. DJ Fontana, the Jordanaires. I mean, all of these guys were around, but they just never had a chance to perform much anymore. They'd do a few backups here and there and things like that, but this is where they were the star.
And you know, Darwin, one of the headliners that you didn't mention, which I think is the king of them all, was Sam Phillips.
Yes, Sam Phillips. I'll tell you quickly, and of course, Carl Perkins was our main guy.
Oh, yeah.
With blue suede shoes. And we could tell a great story about that. But Sam Phillips, you mentioned somebody that maybe a lot of your listeners don't know enough about him. And, of course, he was the one at Sun Records that found Elvis, found Carl Perkins, found Jerry Lee Lewis, and many other, even Roy
Johnny
Orbison.
Cash.
Yeah, Johnny Cash. So
Roy
he was
Orbison.
the man. Yeah, he was the man. He was the man. And Jerry, if you remember, on the 25th anniversary, he was so ill. He was just gotten out of the hospital. He was back at home, and of course, I invited him to come down and say a few words prior to that. And he just, of course, didn't think he could make it at all. All of a sudden, in the middle of the show, somebody runs to me and said, "Darwin, Sam Phillips is here." And I'll never forget, because he had his beautiful white suit, white shirt, white tie, and, of course, that big beard. He was always tried to be a preacher-type guy. And he walks out on stage, and everybody had known what he had gone through illness-wise, and they just stood up, and they just stood up for the whole 15 minutes that he said hello and talked to them about Elvis and everybody. So, yeah, he was a special man. And we had a lot of people that just wouldn't have been around anymore, and they got hooked up with the Good Rockin', and you're right. We did some great events.
Another one that I remember maybe doing their last concert for us at Good Rockin' Tonight was Gordon Stoker.
Oh, yes. That was his last appearance. I think he passed away just a couple months after that.
He did, and I remember very well at the top floor, I guess, of the Peabody, that concert. It was something.
Yeah, and he, of course, was the lead vocalist for the Jordanaires, and actually did many duets with Elvis. Not too many people can say that, but he did several duets with Elvis himself, yeah.
Great memories, my friend.
Yes, they really are. In fact, Jerry, if you just last weekend, on Saturday, I went to the celebration of life for Joe Esposito, who was really one of my really best friends over the last 20 years. And we traveled, 25 years, we traveled all around the world doing Elvis events, and you were at many of those. And last Saturday, and Priscilla was there, and Jerry Schilling was there, and we all got up and spoke. And it was kind of neat for me because I was the last one after Priscilla, and I could really tell a few little Elvis stories which involved Joe Esposito, and it was really kind of special. But we've lost so many of them over the last 10 years. It's really been a tough one.
You mentioned traveling around the world. Is my memory failing me, or didn't you and I go to Germany together once?
You know,
and France.
Yes, but Germany was special because when we arrived there, there was like a celebration. It looked like Mardi Gras or something going on. Everybody in the streets drinking beer, and they have everybody hooping and yelling.
They were tearing down the wall.
They were tearing down the wall that day. It was that day that they opened the Checkpoint Charlie. And we literally walked through there, and on one side, on our side, the soldiers, they still had their guns, but they were smiling. But as soon as you took those couple steps into the other side, boy, I'll tell you, they looked a little stern, and we saw the difference between the East and the West, and boy, that has impacted me all that time. It was
even
really
the architecture is like a different world.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. It was really something.
Darwin, we're down to about 2 minutes. Is anything you like to plug? Anything you want to say to our listeners? Your Facebook page, your website?
Well, Darwin, before you do that, Darwin, I need you to tell me the names of the Cupids.
Bobby Brown and Janet Peters.
Peters?
Janet Peters. They were both from Vancouver. We had met in the college there, Clark College, and we just got together and had the song, so we just worked on it day and night until we had it really perfected. It was
I
really
never
great.
asked you that, and I always wanted to know. Okay, now you can answer Johnny's question.
Yeah, well, basically, I actually would like to thank all of the old-timers that might be around now listening to you that were there in the 60s when How Long and Goodnight My Love, because we used to go to the Spanish Castle. And we'd go up there every week and perform. And, of course, they paid us so much money, $25 a piece to drive up there and perform. That was really a lot of money. So, but that's the way it was in those days. But I want to thank everybody because that started my life, my journey, I should say, in the entertainment business. And it's been quite a journey. And I am working on a book called The Incredible Journey. But as far as we didn't get into the magazine too much, but the Elvis magazine is still selling like crazy.
Wow.
I've done that for 20-some years, and they can go on to elvisthemagazine.com.
Good to know.
And they can still buy the last few years. I've got a lot of those left.
Cool.
And we still get a lot of orders on that. Or they could just call me. I've got a number for that. It's 760-636-5580. Don't mind them calling about ordering magazines for that. And they are gorgeous. They're just beautiful quality magazines.
The best.
Sounds good.
But, Jerry, one last thing. Thank you, my friend. You've always been a very special friend and always there for me. I would ask you to be there for the Good Rock Tonight concerts, and you were always there, and you hosted those, and we had the best times you could ever imagine.
We surely did, and I can't even remember how many I did. I know I did it every year for a long time.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
You know, I'm going to be in Memphis this year. Are you coming, Darwin?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Yes, I hope to
I'll get a chance to meet you.
Yeah, I hope to have a new book. We'll have to do an interview before then.
Oh, very good.
It's quite special. I'll just tell you, it's called Elvis, What If?
Man.
And it's based on a National Enquirer front page and the stories that for some reason it was pulled off the press. It was printed. There were copies printed, but it was pulled off the press and never released. And everybody wants to know what if. Why was it pulled off the press? Was there something going on with and there are actually photos of Elvis in Maui in 1986. So that's the new book for Memphis.
Very cool.
Okay, I'll see you there.
Yes, we will, Jerry. Looking forward to it.
I'll see you there myself. Darwin, thanks for being on the show. And then Jerry will tell you how you can listen to it and hear it. All right. So, Jerry, what do you think? This Soup Nazi on next week?
It's possible. I also have lined up, and I don't know who's going to be on in what order, but I have Wink Martindale.
Oh, man. Oh, that would be that'd be great.
McNamara, and I have actor Jim O'Hara.
Oh, Wink Martindale would be great along with all the others.
Yeah.
Keep us posted for sure. And thank you again, Jer.
Okay, I'll talk to you then.
You're the best. Thank you, buddy. Takia, did you want to talk a little bit about your project with the sewing thing?
Why don't we do that right after this break?
Okay, sounds good.
Everybody stay tuned. More Viva ENT.
Everybody's wiggle wobbling, or whatever. What do they call it?
Dr. Amanda Wong and the team at Art of the Smiles provides comprehensive dental services at affordable prices. Their convenient location in Federal Way and their extended hours fits the needs of both families and working professionals. Whether it's transforming your smile through some of their cosmetic therapies or simply having your teeth cleaned, Art of the Smiles provides individualized care plans that address your priorities and needs. Visit artofthesmiles.com or call 253-839-4048. That's 253-839-4048 for same-day scheduling. Most insurance is accepted, from cosmetic procedures to implant placement, molar root canals treatment, or wisdom teeth extractions.
Attention business owners. Experience a new world of business with barter. The Saturn Barter Company, located in Tacoma, is one of the most beneficial business decisions you can make. Using Saturn Barter, you are able to sell your products or services to other members of the exchange. You can then use that credit you've built up from your sales to purchase the products or services you or your company needs from other companies within Saturn Barter, all without the use of cash. Contact and join Saturn Barter Club today, 253-212-9930, or online at SaturnBarter.com.
This is Johnny the Gangster with Viva Productions, King of Entertainment, one-stop shop for all your entertainment needs. We have DJ service for weddings, corporate, and private events. Thrill your guests with Vegas Nights Casino Party, blackjack, craps, roulette, poker, and more. We also have event photography and limousine service. Call Viva Productions, 206-542-5733, or find us at viva-productions.com. A little less conversation, a little more action, you got it. Call Johnny the Gangster. I'll make you a deal you can't refuse.
Brides, do you want your big day to be stress-free, perfect, and stay within your budget? Well, Brides Club has all the inside information to make your dream a reality. Go to bridesclub.com. That's bridesclub.com. See upcoming bridal shows and events, view wedding vendors and special offers. And don't miss The Spotlight, the premier online wedding magazine with valuable articles you can't afford to miss. Brides Club helps make your wedding stress-free and perfect. Go to bridesclub.com. Check out bridesclub.com.
Is your vehicle needing some attention? Take it over to Maddie's Tuning and Shoreline for fast, affordable car care. Trusted, professional. Maddie's services all makes and models and has been trusted in the Puget Sound for almost 60 years. Call Brian Maddie at 206-364-3347 or stop by his convenient location in Shoreline right on Aurora at 152nd. Maddie's Tuning. Call 206-364-3347. Trusted for almost 60 years to keep you safe and on the road.
Life's a celebration. Grand Event Rentals makes your event their top priority. They are your full-service, special event, and party rental provider, supplying everything you need from start to finish. Their professional sales team and event staff work with you to create your dream event. With every event, Grand Event Rentals customers' needs are the most important. Whether you're planning an intimate outdoor wedding or an elaborate black tie gala, the Grand Event Rental specialists make great pride in providing our event planning experience to help create an unforgettable event. Please go and visit the Bellevue showroom, Grand Event Rentals, or make a one-on-one appointment. Talk to them. They're trained, they're knowledgeable, they're event specialists, and they are going to take you through step-by-step everything that you need to make your day a success. Call Grand Event Rentals. Their number is 425-462-7368, or go to grandeventrentalslaw.com.
Bringing good vibes to the Puget Sound and the world. Alternative Talk 1150.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Viva ENT. You were just listening to our guest, Darwin Lamm and Jerry Osborne. Another great show for Elvis fans, there's no question about it. Mm-hmm. I do want to mention one more time about the Viva Diva Flea Market in Edmonds, April 1st, 515 Dayton Street. The times are 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. It's going to be a great show, produced by Viva Productions. And my co-host, Takia, you have a project coming up. I want you to tell our listeners a little bit about it.
So I have a passion for kids and sewing and just implementing traditional crafts. So I have a company called Fashion Camp Seattle.
Fashion Camp Seattle.
And we are in the process of enrolling kids this summer for camp.
Cool.
They'll learn fashion, sewing, image boards. We'll talk about style and individuality. It's going to be a beautiful thing. So you can check us out on fashioncampseattle.com, and you can look at our Facebook page, Fashion Camp Seattle.
Very cool. So is this a first-time thing for you?
It's not the first time teaching kids fashion camp and sewing, but it is a launch, and it's definitely going to be an exciting experience for local kids.
It sounds like it to me. Nothing better than to keep kids busy. It gives them character, gives them something to do. That's for sure, especially in summertime.
Oh yes.
You got to keep those. You got to keep them busy.
And you can email us at info@fashioncampseattle.com.
And then I want to tell our listeners that you can meet Takia, who's now one of Seattle's outstanding DJs. She DJs weddings, corporate parties, private parties, school dances, and you can meet her and I at the Tacoma Wedding Expo, March 25th and 26th. It's a 2-day show at the Tacoma Dome. You got to be there. It was a great pleasure to have on another Elvis-type show today, and I'm going to post it wherever I can, so some Elvis fans out there that aren't listening, we got to get them in the mix on Viva ENT here.
Absolutely. Sure. And speaking of the king, why don't we end the show? You guys talk so much about Good Rockin' Tonight. I feel like we got to play it.
Oh, man, you got to play it. Let's listen to it, because I heard the news, baby.
And we'll be back next Thursday with another edition of Viva ENT.
That's correct.
Well, I heard the news that's a good rockin' tonight. I'm gonna hold my baby as tight as I can. Tonight she'll know I'm a mighty, mighty man. I heard the news there's good rockin' tonight. I say, meet me in a hurry behind the barn. Don't you be afraid that I'll do you no harm. I want you to bring along my rocking shoes, 'cause tonight I'm going to rock away all the blues. I heard the news, there's good rocking tonight. She'll know, mighty, mighty man, I heard the news. There's good rockin' tonight. Rock, we gonna rock all our blues away.